All right. I think everything appears to be working. So this is going to be my first attempt to stream Rule the Waves 3. In fact, it's my first attempt to stream anything in a very, very long time. I used to stream over on Twitch. I played Magic the Gathering. I played Hearthstone. We played a little bit of Terraria, a couple of other games. I think I streamed Arma 3, but I haven't really touched streaming in several years. So if you're here now watching, just know that I'm probably pretty rusty, and I really appreciate you stopping by to check it out at least. I hope I haven't lost you already. But here we go. This is Rule the Waves 3. I've put a little bit of time into the game. I think I've gotten over the sort of novice hill. This game has a fairly steep learning curve in some ways. I mean, it's very simple graphics. The UI of the game is it's essentially, as people say, it's a series of Excel sheets strapped together with a game on top of it, or maybe under it. But it's a lot of fun for people who like to simulate naval history. It's a lot of fun for people who like to do tactical game. A lot of fun for people who like to do management. I really like management games. I like keeping track of things. I like lists. So it's sort of, it scratches an itch that a lot of other games just don't. And it reminds me a little bit of an old Super Nintendo game called Pacific Theater of Operations 2. And I say Super Nintendo, but it was probably also a PC game back then because, back in the 90s, there were a lot of PC games that got ported over to, Nintendo and Sega and all that. So with that in mind, and I'm, done sort of rambling here, let's jump in and see what we can do. So we're going to hit new game. We're going to select 1890. And I think we're going to go with Japan. So the thing about Japan is that the economy is very weak. And it seems to stay pretty weak for quite a while. Like at least as, you know, the decade or so that I played, as I was sort of testing the game out, I was playing, spoiler, as US. And the entire time, Japan just sort of seemed behind everyone else, except for maybe Spain. They sort of caught up to Spain and surpassed them a little bit, it appeared, and China was just sort of always behind except for the very beginning. So let's take a look at the advantages and disadvantages of Japan. So the naval budget starts out at 13,320. I don't know where that, well, I guess we could take a look. So it's less than half that of Great Britain, which is really no surprise. Great Britain is the powerhouse of 1890. What about the US? It's sort of on par with the US. However, the US has rapid economic growth. So that's sort of, it's going to be way out of reach of Japan fairly quickly. So let's look at some other peer adversary. Let's say Spain. It actually has a better budget than Spain does. But Spain is sort of the kick around nation for everyone. I think China only appears when Japan is being played. Otherwise, I think it's the Austria-Hungary faction that appears for everyone else. So correct me if I'm wrong, but Japan has China, but no one else does. So for pretty much everybody else, Spain is the kick around nation. So it's not really much of a surprise that Japan's a little bit better. Yeah, it's behind Italy, France, Germany, Russia, so they are the underdog. They have an undeveloped, undeveloped shipping industry. Not sure what that does. They have surprise attack, which, as I understand it, whenever they go to war, there is a small chance that uh, they get to basically swarm the enemy. They get a few minutes to attack the enemy before the enemy is ready, so you can maybe sink a few ships, sort of even the odds. They have kamikaze attacks if fascist and losing the war. Again, I don't really know how that works. Training cost discount, not sure about that, and the dock size seems fairly anemic. Yeah, it's pretty bad. So we're starting out with a lot of disadvantages already. We have research disadvantage in radar, but we have research advantage in light forces and torpedo warfare, so that's your destroyers. Naval aviation, heavier than air, so that's aircraft. Shipboard, so aircraft carrier stuff, and torpedo stuff. We get bonus technologies of double torpedo mounts, diving shells, oxygen fueled torpedoes, lengthened torpedoes. Those are probably your, type 93 long lances historically, which were excellent torpedoes, very, very dangerous. And of course, much better than the American torpedoes, which were pretty dysfunctional there for the first couple years of the war. So enough jibber jabber. Let's select Japan. Again, I appreciate it if you stuck with me this far. Let's actually hop into the game. So my name will be not Togo, but Tiny. The fleet sizes. So this kind of determines how big your budget will be for the game. So if you go very small, everyone's going to have small budgets. Uh, Everyone's going to have a lot smaller fleets, less aircraft to work with, less fortifications they can build with their budgets. I tried out small with the US and was a little bit disappointed with how little I was able to do. So let's go with maybe not super large, but let's go with very large. Let's decrease the maximum airbase size down to 60, so there will still be 60 aircraft at every airbase if you want them to be. And let's see here. Harsher peace deals, that sounds like it's pretty good for us. AI advantage, they don't really need the advantage, they already have it against Japan. And slow aircraft development, we don't want that because aircraft is our main advantage in this game. So we'll go with harsher peace deals. So if we lose a fight, we're going to be in some trouble. We're going to lose territory. But if we win a war, it'll give us a chance to maybe gobble up some of these Pacific territories. We'll go with slot number 3 is one of my lucky numbers, so we'll go with slot number 3. We're not going to change any game user preferences. I have a lot of pauses in the game, like when torpedoes hit and various announcements and stuff. So there'll be a lot of pauses because I have to stop and figure out what's going on. So we hit OK, and off we go. Generating initial fleets. We're hoping for some good battleships, maybe something solid with a lot of secondaries. We're hoping for some fast light cruisers. So what do we have here? We have the Fuji class. Let's take a look at it. Open the design. So it's, about average speed for this era, as far as I can tell. It's got 15 speed, 7 inches of belt armor, but it's it's narrow belt coverage, so probably not that great for taking hits. It's cramped. It's got medium range, so what I've discovered as far as accommodation goes is if you have medium range, you really want to go with normal accommodations. Because if you send your ships out away from your home waters, they might be able to reach it with a medium range, but they start getting sick and there's a lot of crew issues. so it's not great. Our guns appear to be pretty poor. 9 inch, yeah, -2 9 inch. A single mount forward and aft, which, saves us a lot of weight by not being double because we're unlikely to hit. Do we have torpedoes? We don't. That's pretty good because it seems like it would be wasted space, really. We have 8 inch secondary guns. We've got 3 to each side. So the secondaries in this era, I believe, at least in my opinion, those are your main hitters. Like you're really just getting broadside of someone and just letting go. We're really, just sort of getting past the ironclad era. And these early battleships and early ships in general, they're very inaccurate, and you're relying pretty much on volume of fire, weight of fire. So you want to fire as many guns as you can. This would be a little bit more optimal if they were 7 inch guns and there were a few more of them. But, this is what we have. So let's take a look at our heavy cruisers. 20 knots. That's respectable for heavy cruisers. Uh, I've seen them as low as 18 starting out. They have 4 8-inch guns and 8 6-inch guns, so eh, they weigh just a little bit more. These ones do weigh a little bit more than our battleships actually, which is kind of funny. And they have torpedoes, so we can make these work. We could do something with these. Again, the 8-inch guns, they're -2 quality, so they're not great. Generally, I've discovered that if you have -2 in your quality, you'll never be able to upgrade your guns. So if possible, we're going to be looking at getting minimum uh, quality 1 on guns before we mount them. Although our early designs, we might not have that luxury. We might have to just go with -2 quality and then replace the ship later on. And well, we don't have any more heavy cruisers. Do we have any being constructed? We don't. So Japan is not good on heavy cruisers in this initial start here. We are pretty heavy on light cruisers. They're a mix of 20 speed and 21. 20 doesn't really impress me as a light cruiser. I've sort of have a plan for this run here, at least the early on part of this run, because as I said earlier, the guns are not that great in terms of scoring hits and penetrating. And your Fuji, it could sail broadside to another battleship and just empty its entire arsenal into it, and it could score a lot of hits. It might not penetrate, it might hit all the wrong spots, and the other ship just, sails home. You never end up sinking it. The ship killers of this era are the torpedoes. However, they are extremely short range. So I'm coming into this run with a plan, and that involves fast light cruisers armed with torpedoes. We're going to use our other ships as distractions, essentially, to get the gunfire off of our cruisers. And we'll use our cruisers as essentially large, expensive missiles. We're going to lose probably quite a few of them. But if we can score torpedo hits on important ships, we'll change the balance of the war. So we have a lot of these Yama class, 10 6-inch guns, 21 speed. As a 2-inch deck, 2-inch belt. The belt isn't great, but a deck's pretty good at 2 inches. These aren't bad ships. They're little gunboats, essentially. They have a torpedo tube probably on each side. They don't usually seem to mount them front and back if there's only 2. So these are usable. We'll be able to put those into our fleet. We have another cruiser. It's only 20 knots. I'm kind of tempted to just get rid of the 20 knot cruisers entirely. The light cruisers, at least. because they'll be able to catch battleships essentially. A lot of the enemy cruisers, it seems like, start out about 20 knots, so they won't be able to overtake, and that's what we really need. We need something that can overtake the enemy. So what we're going to do is, yeah, we're just going to scrap it, because remember, we don't have a lot of resources here to begin with. So we're going to scrap, and this will save us a little bit of money monthly. Brings us up to 4,700 in monthly balance in the positive. And that's before we start everything else. So the first thing we want to do is we want to build up our dock size. This is important. It's going to take 15 months. It's going to charge us a monthly fee, but we need to start getting our dock size up so we can build bigger ships. And it will also increase our capacity for building ships. So this is the tonnage you can build at one time. We're building, well, this is the tonnage you can build at one time. We're building 9,000. We have 35,000 more. And, those two little gunboats, they're fine. They're only 4-inch guns, backed up by a bunch of 3-inch guns, but they're speed 21, which will work for now. So one of the first things I like to do before I forget to do it is I go into my doctrines. We're going to set our doctrines to gunnery and torpedo warfare. Our guns are crap right now, so we need, as much percentage advantage as we can get in scoring hits. And torpedo warfare is our main form of attack right now. So if we have to fall back on guns, they'll be hopefully a little bit more accurate. But the main thing is we want torpedo warfare. Historically, I believe the Japanese probably would have taken night fighting and torpedo warfare over gunnery. And they kind of neglected their damage control. So we'll take elite pilot training, we'll take float plane helicopter search priority, this stuff. I'm not entirely sure what it does. I'm just going to select it, and maybe someone can tell me whether or not it's a waste of time. We don't have aircraft anyway. It doesn't seem to be costing us any money, so we're just going to hit close. We're going to go to research, check out our guns. Yep, it looks like 6-inch guns are about the best we have here. All right, so let's increase our budget to 12%. Let's put our naval guns on high for research. Let's put our destroyer research on high. Ship design on high. Let's see, maybe fire control on high. If we can get a fire control director before anyone else, that would be really handy. And like hull construction, we'll do high on that one. Maybe that'll give us access to some new, I'm not even really sure what that will do, but we'll see. And I feel like if we do anything else at high, we'll probably be early neglecting the other things. So let's just go and hit OK. That brings us down to 3,300 for monthly balance. Let's set up our divisions real quick. So we're going to want probably 4 battle divisions. And the way I'm looking at it is we'll have a fleet flagship division. So we'll do the fleet flag. We'll set up a core division to support it. So it's supporting the 1st division. We'll have the 3rd division be independent. And we'll have the 4th supporting with core the 3rd. So essentially, if we ever get enough battleships, we will have 2 main battleship groups with, basically the 2nd supporting the 1st and the 4th supporting the 3rd. And we'll do 1 more battleship division. It'll stay independent. And if we end up with some sort of old battleships, we can kind of shuffle them off to the 5th division. It'll be like the retirement home. They can just kind of hang out there. They don't have any vital duties. And then we'll do heavy cruisers. We want 4. We want one each to support our battleships, and then we'll do 1 extra For maybe our raiders, we'll do 6 light cruiser divisions. That gives us 4 to support the battleship divisions, and then a couple of extras for whatever. Hopefully on this run we'll have a lot of light cruisers, so we'll need the divisions. And of course Japan, being Japan, we want a lot of destroyers. We'll go with like, um, let's do 8, and that way uh, we'll have 2 supporting each main division there. So let's go ahead and assign these now. So we'll go with roll. So we'll do screen the first battle division. We'll do screen the second. Screen the third. Screen the fourth. And light cruisers, we'll do support so they stay close. I found that if you set too many of your light units as screens and scouts and whatnot, they get pretty far out ahead of the rest of your divisions. And if they run into trouble, especially at night, they can get shot up pretty quick. So if we're putting something out as a screen, maybe it's the heavy cruisers that can take, at least a couple of hits and won't just, get sunk by ending up broadside to like a, division of light cruisers or something that have 6-inch guns, and they just, hit you 5 or 6 times before you can redirect them to go elsewhere. I am playing in captain mode because I really like having the control, and I tried playing in the other modes, and I was really frustrated with not having control over my units. They seem to do a lot of stupid things, and they would go and just get themselves sunk, like for no gain. It just didn't make sense to me. And even here in captain's mode, we'll still lose control over some of our divisions. And let's do 2 more destroyer divisions just as extras. So we have a lot of ships that are a lot of divisions that are attached to the flagships and the battle divisions, whatnot. But then we have some independent little divisions that we can just sort of throw ships into and maybe move them around as needed. So let's hit save real quick. We've done research. We've done our doctrines. And let's take a look at the world. So, yep, this is kind of what I expected. Yeah, I don't recall China actually being on the map when I was playing as the US. I don't seem to recall that. I just seem to remember a lot of great powers just occupying these territories. But maybe I was wrong. Okay, so it looks like we just have the one uh, map area here essentially that we have to look after, which is a pretty good thing for us. So we can basically, we have a small fleet, we have a small budget, we're always going to be kind of behind, it seems. But if we can kind of concentrate what we have here in this Northeast Asia, we'll force enemies to sort of come to us to fight. So they might be a little bit strung out, and we might get a chance to engage them piecemeal. I mean, look, we're outnumbered already by the Chinese fleet. Looks like their main advantage is in the heavy cruisers. They have, oh, we can check the almanac there. China has, yeah, bigger. They're bigger than us by 50%. Nearly 50%. We're even on battleships, but they have 2 that are being built. We are way outnumbered in terms of heavy cruisers. They have 4, we have 1, and they're building another one. Looks like we have the advantage, or we're going to have the advantage in light cruisers once our 2 are built there. And then corvettes, whatever, you just sort of assign them and they do their own thing for trade protection. Everyone else, not even really worth considering. We are way behind. We are the underdog here. The closest adversary to us is the US, which is going to explode in terms of ships anyway. What do we need to do? Well, let's look at what we can build. We'll sort it by speed. Looks like the Yamaya is still sort of our primary light cruiser to build. The Fujis, I don't think they're probably from foreign ports anyway because they're 6,400 tons. So let's check that out. Oh, we've got to right click and open the design. So they were built by Great Britain. So they're not even worth trying to replicate. Assuming the Osama was also built by a foreign nation. Yep, also Great Britain. And these things here might have even been built by someone else. No, it looks like those are local. So our big guns are crap. We can't build anything particularly large. So we're really going to have to lean into this light cruiser idea. So let's go ahead and assign our ships real quick. So we'll put our 2 battleships into the 1st battleship division. We'll throw our single heavy cruiser into the 1st cruiser division. And then we'll do we want to do pairs or trios? Probably pairs. How many we're building a couple of the Cashies. Those don't even match what we have. So yeah, we'll just do Division 1. We'll do Division 2. Division. Uh-oh. Oh, hang on. No. Okay, so I was looking at. I thought those were like cruisers there for a moment. So let's go ahead and we'll just throw that in with Division 2, I guess. And then when the other 2 come out of the yard, we'll put those into Division 3. So that'll give us 3 divisions of, I guess, 7 light cruisers. So what we could do is we have 3,366 monthly balance. We could start developing our mainstay light cruiser. We won't have any new technology or anything. This is all just very basic. Whatever we have, we have. So it puts us at 3,100. Let's go up to like 4,500. Let's see what we can do with that. So I think the first thing we want to do is we want to make sure that we can go 22 knots because we want to be able to catch anything else out there in the oceans. So we'll downgrade our secondaries. We'll get rid of them entirely. We'll get rid of the secondaries and the tertiaries. We're still horrifically overweight, so let's go up to 5,000 tons. And we still need to put extra torpedo tubes because these are our main ship killing weapons. So do we go down to 4-inch guns? So 5-inch guns, they obviously hit a lot harder, especially against light cruisers and heavy cruisers, but they are quality -1. So if we go down to quality 0, maybe they'll be a little bit more accurate. Now we're still hurting for tonnage here. Let's downgrade the deck from 1.5 inches to 1 inch, and that gives us 83 tons to play with. We could even decrease the belt. Okay, yep, that gives us some more weight. And then do we just throw on, I guess we can increase the rounds a little bit because we decrease the caliber, so they'll be firing a lot faster. And then we can just throw on some guns and hope that we can set things on fire as we close in to launch our torpedoes. 22 knots seems like it's probably faster than just about anything else out there. And it's 980 per month to build these. Now, one thing we can consider is deleting a couple of these turrets and decreasing the weight of the ship, the tonnage. And this decreases the monthly build cost by about 100. I think that might be worth it. Yep, I mean, a little bit less armed in terms of guns, but again, guns are pretty bad in this era. So let's Yeah, let's go with what we have. 874 to build, 22 months. I think we took the time cost down a little bit as well. So let's go ahead and pick a name for it. We'll go with something kind of forgettable. Like it's these are our first ones. They're gonna die a lot. We'll go with the Kashiwara. 4,600 tons, 22 knots. That's essentially a speed demon in this era. The engines are normal, so they should, be able to go at speed a little bit longer. And we will hit OK. It's going to take us a couple months to work up the design. In the meantime, our monthly balance will go up a little bit. It should approach about 10,000 by the time we get to a couple of months from now. That'll give us a little bit of a nest egg to work with. All our ships are designed, or all of our ships are assigned. And I think we're ready to go our very first turn. I hope I hope you folks have stuck with me through this. I know it's a little bit tedious getting things set up for the first time, but I think we're probably pretty good to go now. So let's hit turn and see what happens to us. Oil's been discovered in the Northern Marianas. Now, I think that's not Spanish. That would be out here, wouldn't it? Yep, nope, those are the Marshalls. The Northern Mariana Islands is that Peleliu and Truk? No, Caroline Islands. Ooh, okay, that's pretty close. Yeah, it's Saipan. That is very close to us. If we could ever get our hands on that oil, that would be really nice. We'd have to go to war with Spain. But for now, let's try to avoid any war, at least until we can get our cruiser fleet going. That's sort of the thing about this game is you want your tension to go up a little bit. Okay, let's go ahead and build these. So I like to build in trios or either two pairs of two or pairs of three. So we can do 4 of those for now. That'll give us 2 pairs. But one of the things about this game is you want your tension to go up. You want it to, be in the yellow sort of. That keeps the money flowing into your coffers because your government, sees. Oh, one of our major arms manufacturers wants to enter a technology agreement with a company in Russia. Is this advisable? We can deny it, increase tension, or we can do cooperation. Now, we don't have any technology, and Russia probably doesn't either. But I think it's a good idea to keep tension down with Russia. We don't want to go to war with them. Okay, so nothing's really happening. Nothing's really happening right now. But yeah, we do want our tension to go up at least a little bit, hopefully with like China or maybe Spain. We really want to avoid, or maybe the US even would be okay-ish because they're so far away. But we want to avoid our tensions going up too much with Germany, Great Britain, France, and Russia. Because Russia's right next door to us. They can probably put a big fleet down our throats when they want to. And the other major powers, they just have, an infinite amount of ships compared to us. They have colonies over here on our side of the world, so they can, just be over here in our business. We don't want to confront them until we have a good base to work from. Okay, so let's go ahead and hit next. Improved AP, no progress. We have increased tensions with Russia and China, or we had decreased with Russia. Okay, maybe it's that technology agreement. And this is one of the big flaws of having low tension is that your government will decrease the funding. And on top of that, there's a slump in the economy. So any further budget cuts are unacceptable. So we can gain prestige and tension, but we lose budget. We can just lose budget. or we can lose budget and prestige. Let's probably go with the top one. We're losing budget no matter what. We might as well just get something out of it. Prestige is sort of like well, here we go. Our technology sharing agreement with Russia has been a great benefit in naval gun manufacture. Oh, wow. We have a lot of events going on here. So we have naval intelligence has hatched a plan to engineer a coup in Borneo. I mean, let's go for it. That gets us a little bit of reach. So what happens? Okay, nothing seemed to happen. Tensions went way up. A lot happened. We have no tonnage on foreign stations. That means let's go ahead and put the Osama on foreign station. I think we got Borneo. Yes, we did. Look at that. That is a big territory right there. That is very nice. Okay, we'll have to put some uh, it's like coastal fortifications down there at some point to kind of protect it. I think if you put coastal fortifications, it helps with rebels as well. But we have a lot of tension, probably from us taking over Borneo more than anything else. But that might keep the government from, peeling away more and more of our funds. So let's go ahead and hit turn. Oh boy. Turns out that Commander Komaro of the Chiyoda, he's average, he's a gunnery expert, has connections with a company producing rangefinders. He's contributed materially to the efficiency of the equipment, but he's also made money out of it. What should we do about this? So we could either dismiss him and get rid of corruption, which I don't think we have corruption. We could essentially spend a prestige. Nothing seems to happen. Or the Navy can buy the company, make sure we can produce the best. Yeah, let's buy the company. He'll retire. It'll cost us 1,000, which I think is probably like 10 million. I think it's every point of monthly balance is like a million maybe, or 10, like 100,000 or something. It's all kind of abstracted, but we get gunnery research, which is good. That might go pretty well with our sort of agreement that we have with Russia. That could be, sort of a little slingshot forward into our gunnery research. Still no progress. I mean, you can't really see the progress, but we haven't got any new technologies yet. We'll hit save, and we're already halfway through the first year. I mean, the tensions have all gone up, but nothing's really in the danger zone yet. China is doing the China thing, it appears, where they're just have a better navy than us, which I don't remember that being a historical thing. So prestige is going up a little bit. Prestige is sort of like a secondary currency. Spy is from Italy has been discovered. We could potentially get a higher budget. So whenever it's in parentheses like that, it's something that might happen as opposed to something that will happen. Or we can handle it quietly, which we get nothing. Let's go for, yeah, Italy isn't really a problem for us. Even if we went to war with Italy, I don't know how we would even hurt each other. It'd probably just be a stalemate. So let's just go ahead and do that and hope for a higher budget. We're currently at 92,000. Nope, no budget, just a little bit of tension. So prestige is like a secondary currency. It's a good way to think of it is you don't want it to go low because then you essentially lose the game, I think, if it gets too low, which is, I don't know. I've had mine when I was playing the US, it was like 17. So I don't know if that's, you know, too dangerous or not. But you don't want it to go too low. But what you can do is you can spend it to get little bonuses here and there. You can use it in decisions. You can use it for various gains here and there. Like, if you have a captain you particularly like and he's going to get thrown out of the service, you can save him with that. And you can also gain prestige by getting rid of other useless captains, like if they get into duels and things like that. It's very useful to have good prestige. All right, so let's do another turn. Ooh, relations with Spain have taken a turn for the worse. How bad? Wow, look at all that tension. We really didn't want to see that. We really didn't want to see that. Well, other than China, we're probably still not in the danger zone yet. So let's save the game and continue. Our spy has managed to gain hold of the blueprints for, oh, it's a Russian battleship, so little chunky boy. Okay. Tension of Spain has gone up, Russia's gone down. So Spain and China are competing for who hates us the most right now. And we appear to be the only nation that doesn't have green relations with at least someone. So I think we're pretty much universally hated. And we're three with ourselves here. We have unrest. All right, ships under construction. So we're gonna have a little bit of a budget surplus here soon. Once we get this other Akashi built, we'll probably start building up fortifications in Borneo. So there's the first one. Um, here's where prestige is useful because we just sunk a Russian fishing boat. So we could either, tell them to jerk off, or we can offer compensation. All right. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and start building up these fortifications now. We'll do 6-inch guns. We'll do like 3 of them. Take a few months, but at least we'll have a little bit of something down there. Because right now our fleet is not prepared for a battle. All right, tension with Russia went down. That's good. Russia's really one of our main adversaries over here. They don't have much here right now, but if they wanted to, I'm sure they could deploy. Yeah, they have 8 battleships, 8 heavy cruisers. There's just nothing we could do to compete with that sort of thing right now. All right, our training has been applied, so we get the gunnery and torpedo training. Tension with France and Great Britain are going down. That's good. That's very good. Those are also big threats. Let's oh, it's January. It's a whole new year. Did we get any technologies? No, we did not. Did our budget change? It looks like our budget might have gone down this year. But we have 4 new cruisers in production here. Everything else is pretty much the same. We still have the same amount of escorts. We gained a colony, Borneo. And we'll check the almanac. That means we gain 316 as part of our added to our resources per month. That's pretty nice. And you know what? Seems like a pretty good place to stop. I did a lot of talking early on. I've done a lot of talking since. Yeah, seems like a good place to stop the first stream. Um, if you've made it this far, I really do appreciate it. If there's anything you feel like I could be doing better here, or you want me to change about the stream, just let me know. Like I said, I haven't done this in a really long time, and I'm just sort of, taking a shot in the dark here and see how it works out. Anyway, I guess I'll see you next time for part 2 of my Rule the Waves playthrough, the Rise of the Dragon. Farewell and sail safely.